Yes, God. Believe, fear, and trust. Or trust, fear, believe. These three words, these Trinity, they almost every time happen to you. You see, when I tell you that you are God, and some people just don't understand it, it's not a matter of believing, it's a matter of understanding. You see, God created itself, or the energy created itself to have an experience in different things or creatures. So that's why the being that you are is a rock, and it's the sky, and it's the clouds, it's the air you breathe, it's the cells and everything in your body, and the hair, the poop you go in the toilet, the pee you make, it's all God. You see, when you really think about it, you were created in another being or in another creature. You were not made from other parts of phones, or like how you make a phone, you bring that piece and this piece and join them, and you make this piece. You and the other breathing unseen creatures, you created that way. But then you wanted to mix things like cars and computers and buildings and wires, and so you could brought all kinds of other elements that are part of you, and you made something different. That's the understanding. But what happened is you lost the people who don't understand this, decided to build societies that can oppress and install fear in your mind, so that the peace, that's the difference between you and the computer, is that you created yourself from inside out, whereas the computer was thought of from the outside in. That's how people get lost or words get lost in translation, or in not understanding. English can be, or is, a very simple but yet complex language if someone is not given the keys of understanding. That's why you have to always look in the dictionary to see the meaning of something. For example, like when you look at the word believe, that means even people have governments, like people who are controlling their behaviors, or people you call the rich. People believe that, oh, you were told to believe, but you are what you are. And whatever these religious and governmental people did to you was to make sure you don't believe, but you don't understand. You see, a believer is very, very dangerous. I've mentioned this before. That's why you see people right now, they're rioting and killing, destroying things, and because this is the lower side of God. It doesn't want to, it was told to believe something. It is running on the program, a belief program, and it thinks that things should be happening magically in like it be like the beliefs that they were told to in stories. But when you stop and think, you can trust these people, these other gods who come to you and sell you an information and tell you things, and then they corrupt the information. They tell you that they are the only ones that will come to your rescue or your protection. And that makes you weak. And of course, envy, jealous, because you don't see yourself, you don't know what part of you, where you belong in this world. Who are you? You see, I posted my video when I was trying to talk to one of the people at some of the people at the tellers at the airport, and asking why are they always making changes to the luggage that you have to carry, for the carry-on luggage, your small luggages. And we are having a heated and a debate about why they should not let something like that go on, because every time you leave something and not challenge the bad thing, what happens is the bad thing will stay, and people will keep doing that bad thing, not knowing that, some of them not even knowing like they're doing a bad thing. For example, like a speeding ticket, that's they're giving you a ticket for speeding, but you ask, why are they giving you the ticket? Is it that's for the future the crime that you might have committed if you were speeding and hit somebody? That's why people don't understand that in the future they can design a program and they say that according to how you breathe and how you look, or how you walk, you show the characteristics of of some of these scholars or people who have studied a bunch of other, maybe 100, maybe 1,000 people, and they've decided that that type of person or human being is prone, or is going to be aggressive, so we can arrest them, or they will steal in the future. The way they look, the way they walk, the way they talk, and of course the color of their skin also heightens the ability for them to do that, like what they used to do to women or some people, women of color, back in the 18 and the 1900s. There, when beginning of the 1900s, they used to torture pregnant women, and they trained on black women who were pregnant, cutting out their, seeing how to perfect the C-section, or perfect the taking out of the child from their mother, using the It's called the Khazarian or the Khazarian section, the C section. And of course, they trained mostly on black women. Why? Because they thought that black people don't feel pain, and for the sick and and thought of way. That's why the Arab or the so-called Arab, they've treated black people even up to now exactly like that, and they've told them to believe things. That's why it is a very sad time that black people or people of color or the Negro is still trying to recover from the belief system that was programmed in their mind, that they are to believe foreigners' stories to be of truth, like the Bible, the Quran, that they are the truth, and they happened, even though there is no evidence. Now a black or a person of color is lost, is living, is living in the lower side of God, is basically not using their own mind to make a proper judgment and get to a better and efficient understanding, because they are beaten to believe, and they now trust, and the program was installed in them to trust the so-called European or so-called white or Arab, or the white Arab or whatever. And that's why he's always going to be enraged, because when you believe, you don't know, and when you don't know, you're prone to violence. You're very, very likely to get physical instead of using your mouth. That's why you see even the police, most of the police you see on outside there, they get physical, because they also in their lower self of God. They are being told in their books or in the manual what people to look out for, and how to just basically bully people into submission. Like Islam say to submit. No sane. It's like a human being trying to tell a vehicle to submit. The vehicle is a controlled machine. You have to control the machine. Because you made it, it doesn't mean it's going to submit to you. Even the dog, it can submit to you for a while, but when it gets hungry and you don't feed it, it might get violence and attack you. The chances are that it just needs to eat. And of course, some people are broken, or most people in the world are broken, black and white. It doesn't matter. It's because they have believed for so long, and these belief systems, they have trusted in them, like believe in money, and someone controlling their money and thinking that having a belief, or they don't even know, but they just believe that their money will be given to, it will be controlled by another people, or they'll print it for them, and they'll be good enough, kind enough to give them their money when they need it, or their livelihoods, their lives, and they've used fear to threaten other human beings, to threaten most of what is happening now is of course, when a believer is afraid, he goes in physical conflict instead of verbal and speech. Talk it out or debate it out. Talk to the people, the person, because we have the mouths to speak. And in the lower self of God, you will use violence, because that's what you don't know what you're doing. That's why in the Bibles and the Quran it said, forgive them, Lord, because they don't know what they're doing. What Jesus said to the people stoning him. Say, according to the story, it's not a true story, of course, but it's an allegorical the story. Forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. But what he's trying to tell you is tell some people that right now, people who are causing riots and fighting, they don't know what they're doing. Some people will say, no, they know they are grown-ups. No, they are not. They are people who are lost. They're believers. It's like the Taliban or the Al-Qaeda or the military or the police. Most of these people, they just believe. A person who doesn't believe will talk, will try to get to an understanding. That's why you see when you go to when people sit in the Senate, they talk about things and they solve problem by talking. But a believer, a bully, or a person who doesn't know will talk by violence, by beating or fighting his way out, because he doesn't know. They don't know any better, you see. But a child who understands will always try to come to an understanding, Believing, you're beaten or tricked or fooled into believing something, and then you trust that something, and then when it backfires, or when you see that it's not working for you, you start, any little spark can spark it, and there's people, of course, who gain from this from this chaos or this dismantlement of society, because it's always happened. It's not a new thing. These people always, if you look in it's been just not very long time ago during the German, the so-called the First World War. Well, not so-called, the First World War and the Second World War were caused by things like this. These are the same things that caused those wars. People forgetting, and then it replays itself again, because they made them believe again. They let their guard down and they were given a belief system and they followed it again, you see. So what we need to do right now, for you demons or believers, because that's what you are a demon. You don't know what's going on, That's why we need to. When I was attacked, the police just pulled pulled me beside instead of saying excuse me, because what the police is an enforcer of a policy. You see, they are not supposed to come in until someone becomes aggressive violence, starts beating people or throwing things at people. That's what an enforcer, a policy enforcer is. But nowadays they can write anything in their policies, you see. Because why? Because there's a bunch of very rich or rich people who are really controlling all these governments in the world. Just if you don't understand that, then you have a problem. Your government is being controlled by the rich. The rich will always control. The people who have the money, who have the wealth, will dictate in the background or in the front what your life should be like. You as a God, you'll be jealous. You're a jealous God. And they fooled you to understand, to think that you can be, you can be anything. But if they put you into a fairy, they made you believe in the fairy tale, like a child, flying horses or flying donkeys, an imaginary man coming out of the sky and falling, coming down and saving you. They've made the stories which were allegorical to tell something behind the story that is behind the story, like the hare and the tortoise. They're trying to tell you a story behind the story. There's no a hare cannot, the tortoise cannot win the hare. But for some sick reason, some people think a hare will sit there. It's just like that. It's like you thinking that a tortoise can win a hare in a race. Yeah. And which languages are they speaking in this turn of events, in this true story that you think is true? It's not. Stop trusting, because you don't trust yourself. So you decide not to trust. By default, you won't trust anybody. If you don't trust yourself, by default, you won't trust anybody. And this is what most people in the world, and sad to say, people who look like me, black people, they don't trust. And they only trust they trust their masters, or the people who they think the white people or the Arab. Even if you tell, or someone who pays their bill, or someone who gives them money, who gives them a job, or who looks like is someone. You get it? Trust is a very, 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 very important. Very important in a human being. And like now, there is on most of the countries, notes in the world, there is that word, we trust. In God we trust. What does that mean? It's written on a piece of paper or on a coin. On God we trust, on the paper. That's the paper, the God they're telling, in God we trust. That fake money, that paper that they had to break down or cut down or whatever to take out from nature, to destroy nature, so that they can make that piece of paper, and so that you can carry it in your pocket and use it to value your wealth that you accumulate in this world, which you are just here for a minute, because of course when you die, it's like you are not even here. You're forgotten. At least for most people, unless those ones who are a bit close to you, to take them some time to forget about you. But sooner or later they will forget, and they will also die off. But this piece of paper, this in God we trust, because that paper itself is the lower side of God. They've taken it from God, from nature, and brought it on and put him in his lower self, from the tree, which is its higher self, to this piece of paper, which is its lower self. The tree provides shelter, provides all these nice things. It provides rain, brings, but with that piece of paper, what good it is. Even the rocks and the earth is very, very much better than that piece of paper. It's more nice if you put it in a cooker and in the fire and burn it and get heat, and then it turn into ashes and go back to earth, and then it will go back to its value, or to its and higher understanding, in its higher self. I know most of you will take some time to, but this is why I'm telling you, this is lessons for dummies. If you think you're smart, you will not understand what I'm saying. This is only, you have to dumb yourself down to a child at the age of between the age of 5 and 10, because that's when the child is curious. It wants to understand. That's in its dim cycle, you know. So until you get out of, you start ready to understand and listen to everyone and give everyone a chance, and not bring up, not be stuck in history, and really move through history and learn it and move through it, and you can get help from it and change things so that it doesn't repeat itself. But right now it's repeating itself because they have forgotten, you know. Not so long ago, there was a child who set himself on fire, or a kid that set himself on fire in Egypt, I think during before the Arab Spring. That's where the whole thing began, when someone was tired of these sick, twisted human beings or the sick, twisted gods, these dummy gods that make his life so. And of course, again, it was about enforcers. Like, again, the police was giving him hard time for whatever reason of his existence, and he was not happy about it. He was forced to do things. He was forced to not live a better life, and forced into poverty by police, by another enforcer, because that's what they do. It's a job. They get paid to enforce this, and they work for a company or group of company or group, and that company is owned by a group of people, or a person, another person on top of that, who pays the bills. You know, whoever pays their bill controls them. You get it? Because most of the world has made to believe, and so they cannot trust themselves. So they live in constant fear. So whatever they've been told by their masters to believe, they will either force it on their constant repetition of, oh, this is the fruit, this is truth, or they will use force. You know, because that's what laws man made. That's why man made these laws, to enforce them. The 10 Commandments, that's all man-made laws that they make up to enforce them. It's a very understanding, a very smart human being can understand that there are things that you shouldn't do. You know, common sense, like, it's not common to the people, but it's sense. You have to use your senses of understanding. You have to think, you know. I don't want my children being raped. I don't want my child being abused by other people, but we also we do them to others. You know, we don't want to kill other. I don't want my child to be killed. But these people, they'll go and cause wars and kill other people, and we let it happen. You know. Now the whole world is saying, they're saying, oh, the whole world is burning. This is not a new thing. And if we don't go in our higher selves and stop this, and not realizing that we are not, and stop this believing things, and really think and know that we are gods, and God acts in the lower and the higher self. You know, just like your mouth eats something, your pee, your private parts, or your poo-poo area will take it out. That is God. You still, you put it in your mouth, it's here. Just like you say it, you eat, it will come out of the Lord. So you have the higher and the lower self of God. You know. It doesn't mean the digestion and how it comes out, what happens, are different. You are not different. The The head is not different from, is not separate from the intestines and the private parts, or the, you don't know, track. They are not different. It's on the same body. It's the same thing. That's why you not knowing that, it's a very, I know, because I used to think that these stories were peculiar. I've been in Islamic studies. I studied in Muslim schools almost for 25 years, and Christian schools for over 20 years. I've studied the Muslims, and I say, what is happening here? The stories were peculiar, but the people who do this, who tell us these things, they are following a program. They're following a syllabus, and they don't care to question that syllabus, that what they are telling us is not true. They are just telling us what was written down in a book by another printing press or another government, And they don't have an explanation. It's like someone giving you a computer and not telling you how to use it, not tell you how to switch it on, or putting you on the internet and put you on a channel of violence, and then it tells you, or TV, and put you on the channel of violence and never show you how to change the channel to a different channel. You only put you on that violence channel, and you just learn how to be violent. It's a program, like a person playing their video game and say, oh, I can't play any other game. I like God. I like use God of War. I like playing this enemy combatant or fighting games. They don't like story games. They don't want this. No, a person who say that, oh no, me, I just watch TV. I don't watch. I don't play video game. But everywhere there is a message. Everywhere there is information. All you need is information. That's why you are here for. If you don't share into that experience, you are dumb to that part of the world. That's why now, today, I want to awaken this movement. There's a movement around the world going on to save what is left of humanity, or what is left of the God, to get out of to become the true God, or to become the God in its higher self, or Allah in its higher self. This energy, so that you can connect with the energy, and the energy will save you. And this is the decentralization of everything. Yes, you heard this one. Maybe not the first time. Most of you might have heard it. Yes, it's the decentralization of everything. Right now, there's a bunch of millennials and people they call the millennial. Of course, we divide ourselves. But yeah, people were born at the time of the millennium, and then of course the people were born after the people who are, I don't know what they call those ones, but yeah, they have people who are born in the 90s, the 90s kids, and the all the way coming up, and then of course the 80s kids all the way coming up. There's a different kids there, and of course there is but what I'm trying to tell you is that these people, this group of human beings, or this group of gods, have assembled, and they've realized that the only savior right now is the internet. Is the only savior is the information. Their savior is the internet, or this thing where the tube, the cloud, the thing you don't see, that part of you, that part of God, because of course you are part of that frequency. You are that network that people don't see, networking, but not networking like people and another person. No. Network like a route, where you'd route information like on the internet and Bluetooth, these wireless things, or wire things, whatever. But most of it is wireless. what these people are doing are trying to decentralize everything, take it away from a group of people, like a bunch of, shake my hand, rub my back, scratch your back, send me some, give me some, bribe me here, bribe me there. Those, that sect of big money holding all this money in the world, this 1%. This, even if they don't know it or know it, this group of children or this group of so-called hackers or internet users are the saviors of this world. You ask me why? Because they're trying to decentralize everything. Mostly what they're trying to start with is this Bitcoin, or this money on the internet, whereby you don't need a central bank. You don't need a central bank to keep printing money like crazy, and you don't need one person owning everything, So everybody can have a share of something, and with a bit of, of course, being attentive and using their minds, sharing information and getting, and I can send you whatever money, like we're doing right now. We have money sending where banks don't have to be involved. So we need that thing where we need to take out the central system to decentralize these systems that they have put that favors some people more than others, so that you can, if you want a loan, you can call up a friend or send a text to a friend or send it out to the web and say, I need a loan of this much and I need to do this, explain it to a bunch of people on the web, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm interested, let me invest in you or something. I don't mind if you bring it back, and whatever you do, if it's interesting, let's do that. People who share this kind of yes, internet also is open to corruption, but it's very hard to corrupt the wireless, or to connect the unknown. Why? Because it's not known very nicely. It's not known. It's like the dark side of you, the light side of you will always empower you as the body, but it's still not corrupted because of what the body wants. It will keep doing it, but as long as the body gets the information, it will enlighten the body to come to its knowing. So yes, there is a bunch of bitcoins in the world right now. People are trying to they're investing in this. Yes, anything that is to decentralize the government, to decentralize everything, is the best thing for humanity. Because you don't like, if someone is doing wrong, the police, you pay their bills. Because the police already has a gun. He has a taser, he has a baton. In North America, in Europe, in the UK, police don't carry these things. Maybe now, where I was there in the 2000s, police didn't carry guns, and they took time to talk to the person. Hey, how are you? How are things? Where were you going? They really want to talk to the person because they don't want to escalate. They've caught this person, they're trying to waste his time, and they know it. But these North American, mostly North American police, they're brought up with the mentality of an overseer. An overseer is a slave, or we can call it an employee. That's why employees, they have a supervisor. So an overseer makes sure if you don't do a good job, like a supervisor, you either fire you make your life hard, or make your life easy. You get it? So that's the thing. The overseer, so the police oversee companies. So these cities, or these communities, we call communities, they have these overseers, these people who come, these police people who are being paid by people actually who own these lands, you know, like you can say, oh, I have a house. No, you don't. The house is owned by the land you own is owned by the government, or this owned by another person. You know, you are not. That's not your house. You know, you may be there for a while. They might boot you. You know, they say, you know what, we need to put a road in here, or now in Canada it's the Queen. It's the Queen's land. In same thing in the UK, in the UK and some parts of Europe, and of course here in the US too. The United Kingdom and a bunch of big rich corporation, which of course go back to Europe, to the monarchy. They own these lands, and they tell these people, you know, that you can live here as long as you pay us a premier city, what do you call it, a property tax. You know, if you have never asked why you pay a property tax, it's because the land, and it's always going to be paying the property tax. It never stops. Even after you pay your so-called death trap or that mortgage, you're still going to pay the property tax until even pass it on to your children. They will still pay it, because the land they've taken. They're telling you that they own the land, but because you don't know these words, you don't own anything. You know, even that wealth you accumulate, yeah, if you for some reason, or you die or something, they can take it away from the people who, you know, your successors, because all of these have to stop. This is where you decentralize everything. Then you can stop, but you have to stop believing, meaning you go there, you do your research, talk to as many people as possible, understand their grievance or what they are saying. Don't believe them. But you have to trust yourself that you are capable of doing, or you yourself have to you have to have trust. Don't believe, because once you stop believing, you trust in yourself to make better judgments, to make better decisions. That means when it comes to anything you make better decisions, because we are all trapped in this together. And that's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But every once in a while, there's a change of what some people call biblical proportions. A change, like a tsunami, or like this the First World War, the Second World War. There's always a change coming. So if the economy, like the baby boomers, you know, there's always a change. If you see that change and you hold on, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Stop fear. You know, it's like the worst thing what's the worst thing that can happen? The best thing, like dying. Dying is the best thing that can ever happen to you, because you've lived the experience to the fullest, and you passed. You go. Well, that's why they say you passed. But no, you die. What it means, you die, but you just boom. The body is dead. And whatever was giving that body light, things to move, to the energy, to whatever that energy was that made the body do what it was, it was supposed to do, like eat, drink, breathe, look, touch, feel, all these senses. That thing, that energy moves on. That's why they're saying he passed to where, you know, you're back in the energy. You're back into that. That's why you see the water rain, there's liquid, and then you know, it starts moisture, and then the moisture, the steam, and then you turn from steam, you vaporize, you go up. That's how that's everything, how everything works. And you think you are not God. You think there's an imaginary, another being who goes in your, Who made you? Was there a factory that you didn't know about that goes at night? It comes and works in your mother's womb? No, you made your mother was sleeping and everything was done, or awake and everything was done. In there was no one was creating you in there. No one but you. You are creating yourself and getting out and get energy is here, and you are being taken advantage of. So trust yourself. Don't care how other people look at you. That's the one thing you don't do. You know, you're a God, and you let anything you want in these eyes, whatever you see or hear or smell, you can either interpret it the way you're being told to interpret it, or you can find another way to let it in. You can either let it in or let it out. Some people hear things and they say it gets out in the other ear, and some they don't listen. And other people have the eyes but they can't see, meaning you can look at something and you look at one place, and then these other things pass, pass in your vision, and you really don't even see them. That's why you can get you get in accident easily, because you thought you were paying attention to one bird or to the road, but you didn't expect a bird to fly into bird comes flying into your windshield, or a deer come cross into your front, and then boom. You can be really looking at something and not see it. It's very funny. People who play, like if you play poker, you understand there's 10 or 13 moves you can win, but there is 10 or 13 moves you can lose. So, but if you're not paying, you might drop a card, that you would have won, because you are looking, but you are not seeing. And of course, don't worry what the man says in the mouth. Because if you trust yourself, whatever the man says from their mouths, be it abusive, be it degrading, they are just words. So a policeman or a policy keeper or an overseer was supposed to be trained or to be told to be like a therapist, because it's there it's supposed to, for some people they think it's there to protect, yes, but not protect you, protect the establishment or the government or the city or whoever pays their bills, to protect them, tell them what to do and when to do it. That's the same thing with the army or people who go in the military. Again, that's the lower side of God, because the lower side of God uses physical. They are physical. The lower side of God is physical. The higher side of God is intellectual. That's why they tell you, listen to the mind. The mind knows everything. Once you listen to your mind and pay attention, whatever information they bring in, you process it and make sure you understand, or go do the research to understand. Like any job, you have to put in the time and understand it. Don't believe it. Don't say, oh, don't do this, and saying, oh, there's people, when you go to Saudi Arabia, they rape, they beat women, they rape women, and which is true, because I've been there. I've been in the part of, I know those people very well. I've been there in Dubai. The Arabs are not so different, those ones there and the ones in Saudi, because it's the same almost families. So if you look at this, they are the Ottoman Empire or the Byzantine. These people are the same, but they kind of the same. But they still have that belief mentality. They are not the same, but they have that belief mentality that is the same. They are believers. And if you want to know, a believer wherever you go is the same. It's violence. It's very unpredictable, very dangerous, a believer. It can be nice to you, and then it can be violence to you right away, because a mad person, a psychopath, that's how they think. They're psychopaths. When you believe, you want to hold on to something that you don't have proper information about. So please stop destroying the properties. It's not gonna help. And if you don't stop violating everything, like beating or destroying people's houses, being physical with everybody or anything, they might come. You might want to bring. You may bring yourself a third world war, or because that's how wars begin. This one started in the Arab Spring started with the child burning themselves. Some people who are interested in causing war, they came in, they did what they did, and of course we know what happened. Libya, Syria, Lebanon, or whatever other countries which failed after the Arab Spring, because there are people who enjoy killing, people who enjoy violence. Because why? They are believers, and they will destroy. That's the lower side of God, and that's the devil's side. It will destroy. It doesn't care. But the higher side of God will always be there. And all you have to do is use this one. That's why when you're violent, you find that you're not a happy person. You're always having nightmares and bad things happening to you. It doesn't matter how rich or how poor, how wealthy, or how, Will that be said? Don't believe, trust yourself, don't fear. 3, the Trinity. Remember that, God. Become God.